Three of the most watched funds on Wall Street, Lone Pine Capital, Dan Loeb's Third Point, and Ray Dalio's Bridgewater, almost never end up in the same name. They run completely different playbooks: tech growth concentrator, activist investor, systematic macro. But in the first quarter of 2026, all three of them quietly started a brand new position in the exact same stock. Not Nvidia, not Microsoft, Hut 8 Corporation, a Bitcoin miner. Combined, they put about $337 million into it. All of it new money, all in the same 3 months. So here is the question worth a few minutes of your time. Why did three very different funds, working completely independently, land on the very same name in the very same quarter? Every number you are about to see comes straight from their own filings with the SEC. Start with the filings, because the overlap is the whole story. Lone Pine Capital opened a brand new position in Hut 8, about 6 million shares, worth roughly $285 million at quarter end. That is the dominant piece of the trade. In the very same quarter, Dan Loeb's Third Point opened a new Hut 8 position, about 870,000 shares, around $40 million. And in the very same quarter, Bridgewater Associates also opened a new Hut 8 position, about 246,000 shares, around $11 million. A quarter earlier, none of these three funds owned a single share. Zero. And they did not coordinate. These are three separate firms filing three separate disclosures who happen to arrive at the same conclusion in the same window. Now, why does it matter that it was these three specifically? Because of who they are. Lone Pine Capital, founded by Stephen Mandel out of the Tiger Management family, is known for highly concentrated, deeply researched bets on quality growth businesses. They pick a small number of names and size them large. Dan Loeb's Third Point is famous for activist investing, finding mispriced, misunderstood companies and pushing them to change. Bridgewater Associates, founded by Ray Dalio, is the world's largest hedge fund, running systematic, top-down macro strategies driven by economic data. A concentrated growth shop, an activist, and a systematic macro fund. Three completely different ways of looking at the world. They almost never end up in the same single ticker idea at the same time. So when they do, independently, in the same quarter, it's at least worth understanding what each of them might be seeing. And here is the twist that makes the convergence make sense. Hut 8 in 2026 is not the same company it was a few years ago. On paper, it is still classified as a Bitcoin miner, and that is how most casual investors still see it. But for the last 2 years, the company has been publicly redirecting its power capacity away from pure coin mining and toward high-performance compute hosting. In other words, toward AI. The pivot has been described quarter after quarter in their own filings. So when three very different funds initiate a new position at the same moment, they may not be buying a Bitcoin miner at all. They may be buying a power infrastructure company that simply happens to have started out mining coins. That reframe changes the entire thesis, and it is the cleanest explanation for why a value-style growth shop, an activist, and a macro fund could all show up at the same name. So why power, of all things? Here is the part most people miss about the AI build-out. Everyone focuses on the processors, Nvidia, the chip makers, the hyperscalers. But all of that computing has to run somewhere, and somewhere means a building with a grid connection big enough to feed thousands of energy-hungry processors. The bottleneck is no longer the chip. The bottleneck is the power, the land, and the substations behind the rack. Hut 8 already owns that. They built it for coin mining, and the same megawatts can be redirected to host AI workloads. That is the substrate underneath the entire industry, and historically, it has been priced as if it were just a bet on the price of Bitcoin. At around $46.90 a share at quarter end, this was not some forgotten, left-for-dead penny stock. Which makes the decision by three independent funds to start a position right here, at the same time, even more interesting. Now, one quarter does not make a thesis. A 13F tells you what they bought, it does not tell you why, and it does not tell you whether they will keep buying. So the real test is the next filing, which lands in August. If Lone Pine, Third Point, and Bridgewater all add to Hut 8, then this three-fund convergence was genuine conviction, and the thesis is building. But if any one of them trims or quietly exits, then it was a shorter-term trade rather than a structural call. Either way, here is the part that matters most. None of this is a tip, and you do not have to take my word or anyone else's for any of it. Every single figure in this video comes straight from each fund's own filings with the Securities and Exchange Commission. No estimates, no insider whispers, just open data. So go pull the 13 Fs for yourself.